I want to finish this video by making some final sense of parables, such as the lost sheep. These are words that were spoken figuratively, but quite easy to understand, when one understands the lighted oceans above are real. And easily makes sense, when one accepts, the world you inhabit now, is truly a field of determination. Suddenly, all of the parables will make sense to you, without need for interpretation. I will focus on the main parables, to help you understand the mystery of figurative languages, spoken thousands of years ago. Keep in mind, parables in the days of former, were reflections of those days. They were comparisons, to agriculture and rituals. Furthermore, as said before, the Bible has been corrupted, where one handful of truth, is mixed with 2 handfuls of lies. To start off, I will explain the parable of the tares. This is a parable, about the existence, of 2 types of beings within the world. The weeds and wheat, were intended as comparisons to human beings, where some humans are wheat, and some are the tares, the thorns or the weeds. The weeds, are deeply rooted to the productions of the soils in this world. They bathe in the luxury of the material world, while they also attack, those who are the wheat. The weeds play authorities, officials, leaders, rulers, majestic roles, and they are the workers of iniquity, who claim to be employed by the system, and claim your life is a property of the system. The weeds are the violent, and are the persecutors of the wheat. The wheat, however, is not deeply rooted to the soils, as is the weeds. The wheat is lightly rooted, to the production of the soils in this world, and the wheat, is easily removed from these soils, because they have only a little attachment, to the soil productions of this world. The wheat are the oppressed, those in poverty, those who die early, those who are abused, those who oppose violence, and those who are victims, of the malicious system of this world. And in the end, the parable of the tares has a common theme, with the parable of the net, where they both confirm the process of division, where the weeds are gathered to be burnt, while the wheat is taken to the barn. Here comes the true meaning, behind the parable of the sower. Once again, the parables of former days, were figurative approaches, using agriculture and seeds, as a comparison to humans. In the parable of the sower, some seeds became thorns, some yielded fruit, and some landed on rocky surface, without much soil to nurture life. The seeds that became the weeds, belong to Satan, or in other words, they belong to this world. The seeds that did not last long on rocky surface, did not belong to this world, and are now in the palms of paradise, above. And lastly, the seeds that became the fruit or the wheat, are the ones who are going to be taken to the barn, into those palms of paradise. The same ideals, which compare humans, to the wheat or fruit, is also found, in the parable of the growing seed. The growing seed, is a reconfirmation, that by using fruit, as a comparison to a human, the miracle of creation, began from nothing but a speck of air. Some of the wheat in this world, are indeed the lost sheep, who ventured away from the barn of the lighted oceans, out of curiosity, and became lost in the darkness of these fields. The parables of the lost coin, the prodigal son, and the lost sheep, are all references to the spirits, who became lost here, from the utopian universe. Don't forget, the verses in the Bible clearly state, the man today called Jesus, was not from this world. Speaking of the other world, the parables of the leaven and the mustard seed, are references, to the lighted oceans above. As I mentioned before, the existence of the all, fashioned a dual universe, one of darkness, and one of lighted oceans. The parables about heaven, simply put, were explanations to a human species, allowing visualization of the smallest seeds, fashioning the largest tree, or a loaf of bread, from something tiny. The real heaven above, as well, began as the smallest seed, and from nothing, created everything. The magic of the airs, expands always, and as the magic of airs, in the dark universe exist, so do they exist, in the oceans above. This leads to the parable of the hidden treasure. Simply put, if one learns the true secret of heaven, one will not leave their secret, out in the open to be stolen. It is their treasure to safeguard. The treasure is knowledge, and the possibility of theft, comes in the form of the weeds, who will steal the treasure. Do not allow the weeds of this world, to attack your treasure, which is knowledge of the true heaven, you now have. Those who offer you an opinion, to ignore the possibility of heaven, they are destined to remain here, and this leads to further understanding, of the parable of the 10 virgins, which is a reference, to dressing the spirit accordingly for the occasion. And the occasion is division. The 5 virgins who are taken, as opposed to the 5 virgins left behind, is a figurative approach, using the rituals of weddings, as a comparison, to prepare the spirit for the journey. To dress the spirit for the occasion, The spirit may be a wheat, tainted with dust and dirt, which is easily brushed off, but one cannot be a weed, where the spirit is filled, with the mud of the soils. This leads to the grand finale of parables, the wedding banquet. The wedding banquet is a confirmation that everyone is invited to experience heaven, but most will ignore the offer. And in the day of division, some will attempt to enter, and they will be recognized as the weeds, and will be returned to the outer darkness of this world. Herein lies the true secret to leaving the bubble of this world, and the bubble of the dark cosmos, to enter the bubble of lighted oceans. As written in Matthew, chapter 19, verses 23 to 24, then said Jesus unto his disciples, Verily I say unto you, that a rich man shall hardly enter into the kingdom of heaven. And again I say unto you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle, than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of God. These verses alone can be taken literally. To leave the soils of this world, and enter the womb of the lighted oceans, you will once again be small enough to walk through the eye of a needle. You will once again be the size you were when you entered the womb, to begin fashioning a mind and body. The writers of the Bible do seem to get some of the secrets once in a while. Another secret the writers seem to have learned is that the love of this world becomes the chains that imprisons you to this world. As written in the first epistle of Peter, chapter 2, verse 15, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world.